D4VD, whose legal name is David Anthony Berg, born March 28, 2005, is at once easy and impossible to define because to simply say he is a musician is to miss the way his story loops through gaming, viral internet culture, and our controversy that overshadows his music entirely. He is professionally known as D4VD, pronounced David, which looks simple until you realize that the spelling itself becomes part of his identity, symbolizing both his digital roots and the internet's playful distortion of names. He began making music around 2021, though not through like a deep childhood dream of his, but because his mother suggested that he create original music for his Fortnite montage videos, which were otherwise receiving copyright strikes. So his career started not in studios or in open mics, but in the pragmatic world of digital necessity. And yet by 2022, this practical beginning transformed into creative momentum when his tracks like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me exploded across TikTok. The platform carried his sound into homes everywhere, turning him from a gamer turned creator into a recognizable face of new wave alternative pop. The breakthrough moment led to contracts because in September 2022, he signed with Darkroom and Interscope Records, the same powerhouse labels behind other internet native stars. So his songs were suddenly not just viral sounds, but commercial assets. And he leaned into a style that blended melancholic pop, indie textures, and emotional lyrics. By 2023, he was releasing EPs that hinted at a fuller vision. And by April 2025, he dropped his debut studio album, With It. That album, as the title suggests, carried themes of heartbreak, isolation, and personal evolution, functioning as both a culmination of his viral success and a statement of artistry, signaling that he could no longer be dismissed as just another TikTok accident. He embarked on the Withered Tour, a world tour, a global run that elevated his profile further. Audiences saw a young artist translating lo fi origins into polished performances. But this story, seemingly straightforward, is not so easily told because while one part of his identity tied to meteoric success, another is now tied to events entirely outside of music, events that cast long shadows. The controversy begins on September 8th, 2025, when neighbors in Hollywood Hills reported a foul odor coming from a Tesla. Inside the vehicle registered to David, police discovered the decomposing body of a missing teenager, Celeste Rivers Hernandez, who had last been reported seen in April 2024. She was 15 years old at the time of her death, though some reports debated whether she was 14 or 15. But that detail alone became part of the broader conversation, as every year matters when public opinion begins connecting the dots between a teenage fan base, an underage girl, and a pop star. Authorities have not charged him with a crime yet, but his proximity to the discovery has sparked an international storm. He is reportedly cooperating with investigators, and yet cooperation is not exactly clarity because the lack of confirmed cause of death or motive or timeline leaves a lot of space for speculation. The case is suspended between silence and rumor, and into that silence pours public imagination, drawing lines between art, life, and responsibility. The music world responded quickly. Plans for the deluxe edition of Withered, subtitled Marquesonance, were paused, and his US tour dates have been cancelled. So, a collaborator, Kali Uchis, removed their joint track called Crashing from platforms, signaling both industry caution and the reputational contagion that follows scandal. Fans, meanwhile, are pretty torn. Some are devastated, others are defensive, and many are unsure. One of the more eerie details discussed is Celeste's tattoo, a mark on her index finger that matched a tattoo seen on David in older photos. That similarity, though it could be circumstantial, spread widely on social media platforms. fueling suspicion of a personal connection. Reports emerged that Celeste may have been staying at or near his property in the weeks leading up to the discovery, according to neighbor accounts. Even more unsettling, unreleased tracks by David reportedly reference Celeste, intensifying the sense of blurred boundaries between personal and artistic life. But none of this has been confirmed as incriminating yet. It remains speculation, yet speculation often outpaces fact in both digital culture and public opinion. Layered on top of the facts are uncomfortable resonances between his artistic output and the crime scene. Music videos where a body is dragged to a trunk, lyrics that toy with themes of death and disappearance, and imagery tied to violence have been cited by observers as uncanny, almost planned parallels. Of course, art often explores darkness, and coincidence is not necessarily causality, but timing creates its own gravitational pull. The Tesla itself, the setting of discovery, is a symbol of modern luxury, technology, and youth. But in this narrative, it becomes an emblem of something pretty disturbing, tying celebrity to mortality in a way that unsettles even those who once may have admired him. Online, the reactions are pretty split. Memes mock the tragedy, conspiracy theories weave alleged timelines, and fans argue about whether he was a protector or a predator or simply unlucky owner of a car tied to someone else's fate. And because his fan base grew so quickly through TikTok, where emotional intimacy is parasocial by design, the divide is raw, immediate, and unfiltered. So, who is David? He is David Anthony Burke, a boy from Queens turned Houston raised gamer who by necessity became a musician, who by talent became a viral star, who by industry became a signed artist, who by ambition released an album that spoke to loneliness and loss, who by fortune tortured the world, who by misfortune is now suspended in the shadows of an unresolved investigation. He is at once a teenager turned celebrity and a man facing adult scrutiny, an artist defined by digital platforms and an individual defined by offline choices. He's not yet charged with a crime, yet he cannot escape the gravitational orbit of what was found in his car. He is an emblem of modern fame where music and memes and morality collide in real time. And the lingering question is not simply whether he is guilty or innocent, but whether the very culture that built him will be the same culture that unravels him. So, what happens when the music stops? The speculation deepens. And the only question left is whether he will ever step back on stage as an artist or forever remain a headline in someone else's tragedy.